Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Life is Better with Music with Gavin and Mitchell. Last week, we touched on the judging system, correct? We talked about a lot about judges. And Mitchell must be happy because the thumbnail was caramel. I don't know if
I
he even
know.
noticed.
I noticed. I saw that. I
Um,
wasn't gonna say anything, but
I
there we
assume
go.
he noticed. I did that
2017. That was the
just
ballad.
for him.
That was the
Um,
ballad.
so today we're gonna be jumping into like show choir, musicals, plays, kind of the choral world and the theater world. But before we start, uh, we have a rest in peace for this season for drum corps for Santa Clara
Oh,
Vanguard. As I was sleeping and he shoots me a text, and I wake up at like 2 in the morning to like check my route for work, and I'm like, I just saw like something he said. I was just like, what is he talking about? And then I opened it and I saw like the Santa Clara Vanguard notice, and I just was like, I'm too tired for this. So I like kind of closed it out. I knew what happened, but I closed it out and then I woke up and I like read it in full. Man, that sucks. But I could see it coming with
well,
Vanguard cadets not fielding.
I let me pull up the exact numbers, but I saw a very alarming statistic. As in spending money they didn't have, and let me just prove a point here. So, as of 2020, Santa Clara Vanguard was $1.8 million in the hole. In 2019, they paid $1,919,975 in salaries to their staff. But by comparison, Crown paid out 322,233 to their staff.
Uh-huh.
So, one, why are you paying your staff that much when you can do
Yeah,
that's ridiculous. That's
Crown
absurd.
is just as good of a core, and they're being paid like, God forbid, Matt Harloff, probably hands down the best brass caption head you could probably have. Like, just over the record, and the Santa Clara Vanguard is paying that much. Is that including
Yeah,
cadet? Is that including Vanguard cadets as well, or is that
I don't
just like?
know.
Because if it's Vanguard cadets, it's still too much, but it's like it gets a little more okay.
Well, see, they were spending money that they didn't have. And
They went
this
into debt,
summer,
debt, debt.
this summer they spent money that they didn't have, which to an extent is okay. However, you need to be able to make sure that you have the credit or you have an income to pay that money back.
You have like a
And
fundraiser going on. You have this constant flow of cash.
they did not actually learn about that in accounting. Haha.
Business major.
Business major, coloring book.
um, but no, it's just that's sad. That's
Yeah.
four cores now because it's
Legends,
Legends,
SCBC,
Shadow,
Shadow. Yeah.
and then the
Okay,
two
so you saw that
Vanguards.
graphic too. You saw that
Yeah.
Cascades graphic. Okay.
So that's four cores. And that's just so sad. And I do like how other cores are like offering no registration fees to these members. But that also makes me worried, and I just said it to Mitchell beforehand, is some cores may chop some of their members that were already given a contract, because that has happened. That has happened to people. And that's what worries me. I'm not saying the Vanguard people don't deserve a place, but it's kind of like maybe DCI should be like, hey, we'll boost number by like 2, 3 people, couple people per core, something like that, so Vanguard can kind of filter in easier. You know what I mean? Like, I think that'd be more fair, just
I think
because
so.
you have four cores not fielding.
Yeah.
So if they just expand it 5 people, over all these drum cores, that's enough placements to go in. Maybe not where they want to, but it's a home for a season if Vanguard does return the following years, and hopefully,
Right.
hopefully
Well, now this opens up a final spot. While it
it
sucks,
does.
but
It does.
I do have some news. I went down to Atlanta this past weekend and I am getting contracted at Spirit of Atlanta. So,
We have to replace him for the summer.
oh no.
Oh, don't worry, we'll be getting a third and maybe fourth host soon, to where we we won't need him. Not like
Ah,
that. but
You
it
won't
will
need
be
me.
okay that he's gone for a couple months. Um,
Where I disappear off the face of the earth.
Basically, yeah. Um, but no, like congratulations to that. And this is me leading into this. It's scary to think about Santa Clara Vanguard because what's the next news we could hear for them next year? We're folding.
Maybe not
Hopefully,
even next year, maybe even within the year. It could happen at any time.
it could be
And you
like,
know,
hey, let's step back, see if we can fix it, and if not, then we're gonna have to call it. And that sucks. That's two big programs. The last open class
yeah, last open class
champion.
world champion, yeah.
Like that's just kind of drastic. Like you go from winning a championship to just folding. Like that. Imagine that happened to Blue Devils just out of the
I'd be
blue.
sad. I'd be sad. I'd be
Like,
very sad.
and honestly, out of all the cores, if we didn't have any financial history of a lot of these cores, SCB would be one of the last ones I would expect personally. And I'm not trying to throw names out there, but I think like Cavaliers, they've had some history in the past that there was rumor about them. There was rumor, I think about was it Blue Knights or Blue Stars? I think it was one of them who also had rumors a couple like
Not
with through,
sure.
through like COVID, like throughout those couple years, like some of the obviously these cores took a big blow, having a season and a half, maybe two off, and then Spirit having another one off, and it's just like it's
Going to the spirit camp though, I will say there was a very good vibe and they and obviously they weren't out last year for financial reasons, but um
yeah.
I think they've got it in the right direction.
They
So,
got a good environment cooking
yeah.
up.
Yeah, I think
That's
so.
good.
And I really enjoyed learning from their brass staff. Freddie Martin's one of the DCI Hall of Fame members, and he has been there with Spirit for since they were founded. Um, Very cool guy. He actually helps consult for Broken Arrow. So, and when he literally audibly said, he's like, "Yeah, I just got off a really successful season with the band called Broken Arrow," and I'm like, "Hey, I know them." Um, he and I talked. I
Broken
was like,
Arrow.
"Caramel," and then he's like, "Ah, cool, fun," and he's like,
He's
"We're
like
gonna need,
out.
yeah." Ah, no,
Um,
no.
and leading into what you said about the final spot, so that opens a final spot for say finals is the same exact group as last year. That opens it up for Crossman,
Blue
Blue
Knights.
Knights, and I would say Spirit probably, and
Yeah,
maybe Colts. But Colts is already up there in that finals bubble, and Troopers is also in that finals bubble as well.
it's gonna be
So
interesting. We're gonna have to
now
see what happens.
it's even more intense now. Like
You
it is.
know, I will. So
Sorry, Santa.
I did figure out um that the entire like a lot of the visual staff over at Spirit this year is a bunch of Cavaliers visual staff from last year. And okay, musically I didn't really like them all that much, but visually I didn't hate them.
They were pretty decent visually.
I didn't have a problem with them
I just
visually.
didn't like their uniforms.
Oh, the
That was my
uniform
thing.
sucked. I have all the respect in the world for Cavies, but the uniform sucked. Um,
Stay in the
Peace and
green.
love.
That's a core I say. Stay in the green machine.
Stay in the green machines and you're fine. I don't
Or
care
if
which
you
show.
do a costume, don't make it based off of the green machine. Cadets can
Yeah,
do it perfect.
they did
Cadets
it
when they
pretty
do
work.
costumes with their uniforms, like it works.
It
But
worked. I
like
mean, it worked
they had
last
like
year.
the
Yeah, they.
clocks on the green machine and different they had like blue, orange and stuff like that.
Ugh,
I just couldn't.
lame.
I could not.
It looked like
So
vomit on a uniform.
that's hey, I didn't say it. I didn't say
I'll say it. I'll say it. I really did
it.
not like that. So I haven't heard anything about the Spirit Show this year yet, but I go back in January, so hopefully we should at that point maybe hear a little bit.
Yeah, you'll
Obviously, I
probably
can't
have
really share,
some
but
cores may not even uh premiere it to the core members till like April.
yeah,
Because in 2020, Boston, like, we were pushing and then we were gonna apparently be told at April camp, but then March camp came around, got canceled, blah blah blah. Story falls short. Never found
right?
out the show. Never. He never told us.
And then it dies.
And then they used part of it in Zoom and yeah, it's a whole thing. But yeah, finals bubble will be interesting, but this is not a drum corps podcast right now. This is about show choir. So let's jump on into that.
Sad.
Um so I this first question's mainly for Mitchell. I he has a better idea
Let me
because
pull it up.
he's kind of judged it before when we did it on our old podcast. So, Mitchell, what is the description of a show choir to you?
Oh Lord. Okay. Show choir. A choir that sings, dances, and moves.
Would you say it's a musical?
No.
Good answer. Okay.
I
So
know what you were gonna say.
so obviously I was in show choir. I performed with Syndicated Sound from Tarpon Springs, a mixed choir group, and also played trumpet for our ladies group, Sophisticated Ladies. Um, but no, yes, it's a singing and dancing choir with like singing choreography to a show theme, show story, kind of like the same format of a marching show, basically. Like right in the middle, you have a ballad, then you have your fast songs at the end of the show. You change your moods throughout the show. It's the same concept, same type of show uh timeline, basically. Same timeline of emotions and theme. And this is the written description. Show choir is a performance that combines choral singing along with choreography. It's continuing to become more and more common in schools throughout the United States, with a competitive season taking place during the winter and spring months, often culminating with a competition between multiple schools. So, fun fact about show choir, and I learned this from Damon Brown, our choreographer, who lives in Indianapolis, Carmel, or he lived, he just moved to California, but he lived
Oh, lame.
by Carmel area. So there you go, Mitchell. Great choreographer for show choir out of Carmel. Um, he's choreographed for Tarpon for like as long as almost not as long as Mr. Cheeseman was there when he was there, but I think it's like close to 30 years. Like he's been there for a long time. But he says that in Ohio, now coming to me, they say that some schools up here in Ohio classify show choir as a PE credit,
Yeah.
but not marching band.
Marching band was a PE credit for me.
I think for us it was as well at Tarpon, just because it's Tarpon, it's Carmel. Some schools wouldn't qualify it just because, oh well, the band's not as big, which I think regardless of how big your band is, it should be a PE credit. It's still
hmm
very I consider it a sport, regardless of what other people say. And some states consider show choir a sport, but not marching band. What is
That's
that?
that's lame.
Um,
Buzzkill.
yeah, so that's some fun facts about show choir. I personally love show choir. Mitchell, he has yet to find his soul and love and passion for the choral arts, sadly. Um, he needs to get with our motto here and start loving choir even
I
more.
love it. I like it.
And leading into that, before we jump into more questions, kind of towards Mitchell here, um, the judge system. So the judge system, just like I was saying, how like the show systems are in similar comparison to drum corps and bands of America and WGI, same format. Um, judge system's kind of the same way. Like usually you'll have best general effect that wins. Usually,
Ah, ah,
usually, I
ah,
guess,
general
I guess
effect.
I
I
guess
love
these
general effect.
organizations are kind of done with that and like, oh no, no, no. We're so done with everyone thinking the stereotype is that general effect wins, so let's change it. So some shows have like slightly been different, like when
That's
Bluecoats took
stupid.
GE
That's stupid. Lame.
and
Lame show.
They
Lame
took it
show,
into yeah,
buzzkill,
but they took GE. So if we're going off
and
of who
they
has GE,
lost.
they should
Oh
have won.
no.
Um,
Well.
but in show choir, it's best vocals, which is
Somebody call the wambulance.
it is best vocals who wins, and that's in comparison to best music. So that's where the debate comes up between the organizations of show choir and marching band is, show choir has a package, judge depending on the circuit, like a package, general effect. Um, but it's usually like best choreography, best visual, best band in the back, but that doesn't really apply to the score. So that's kind of like your percussion and color guard scores that sometimes don't filter in depending on the circuit. Um, but that's where it's like, yeah, best vocals that win, but then best general effect wins in other groups. But then some circuits, on rare occasion, take best music in marching band. So, they're similar, but you would think it would be more similar, as in like a general effect judge score would win in show choir because it's the full package of the show. But no, they go really to that choir part. If your choreography score is a little lower, but your vocal score is higher, they like the vocal score because they're choir directors that could really care almost, I would say wouldn't care less, but they care a lot more about their vocal ability rather than their choreography ability. Whereas with marching band, and like drum corps, it's the full package, or it should be the full package, but that's a debate we had last week is
Hmm.
do judges really take the full package into consideration? And then in show choir, it seems like the judges really just stick to their category, which is what we were also talking about with a percussion tick tape. You don't do that. If you're not a percussion judge or a music judge, and even as a music judge, your whole tape shouldn't be just on percussion. Shouldn't. You got the brass, you got the woodwinds, you got the front ensemble, you got soloists, you got ensembles that are like, little pocket ensembles that play. You got all that. Not just percussion, but besides the point. And show choir, they kind of just stick to their own thing. Maybe here and there they'll mention something like, oh, the vocal this vocal move may have been out of time, so the choreography was a little off. Something like that. It's a cause and effect, basically. So, but I like that about show choir. It keeps it locked in. It's like I'm a vocal judge. I'm doing vocal. That's my thing. If I see something that affects the visual, I can say it, but that technically doesn't filter into my score. The vocal part of it does, but not the visual part. Unless you're like the put together. I don't know
Right.
if I can. Let me see if I actually have on my phone here from when we did the other podcast, and I should. Uh, a kind of a judge paper. I should have one. Um, and while I do this, I'm gonna ask Mitchell this question: what do you want to see in a show choir show, Mitchell, that will spark your love for show choir?
Um, let's see. Uh, I don't know. Maybe fun music that I enjoy personally.
Like Moeller.
Uh, no. Well, yes, and well, yes, but no. Uh, let's see. What kind of music do I enjoy? Let's see. Well, I enjoy country, but that's not in a show choir show. Um, let's see. Like a jazzy vibe.
Oh, a jazzy show choir show? I can get one of those for you.
A
Uh,
jazzy
I know a
vibe.
couple. So you
Um,
think you would want a jazzy themed show? Okay, so
yes.
leading off of that, how do you think the performer should do? Like, what do you want to see in that show with those
There needs to be a
performers?
moonwalk.
A moonwalk.
There
Well, you want
needs
you
to
want
be a
some Michael
moonwalk.
Jackson
Like
in that
I
show?
will not take no for an answer in terms of that.
Seems like you're leaning into some Michael
There
Jackson.
has to be a moonwalk. Yes. Thank you. Um, There's got to be a moonwalk. Let's see. Internet connection unstable. It's fine. Cool. Uh, let's see. You know, the show choir band should be able to play, some kind of jazzy tunes.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Um, some swing.
Most definitely. Again, like the trumpet, I played trumpet in Roller Coaster of Love, that show. Some love songs, some jazz.
Mm-hmm.
Like we, we threw down, you throw down those parts. And the funny thing about trumpet show choir music, it's not easy. It's like above
No.
the staff most of the time if you're playing the upper split, but continue.
Yeah, sounds about right. Let's see. What else do I want? Oh, costuming. Like a suit for the men, a black dress for the women,
So
kind of like
you
a
just want like a dark color, like that dark color jazz.
yeah, yeah,
Would you
like
want a costume change in there to a nice bright red or something?
yeah,
Nice
sure.
bright blue, depending on if it's
Depends
like
on the
blues.
depends on the music.
Depends on the music. Because a
Depends on
lot
the
of show
specific
choir
chart.
shows, they do have like a costume change, and a lot of them do.
Oh
Most
yeah.
of them. It's usually on almost all of them. I have all the WGI ones on here, so that will help when we're approaching that after
Yeah.
after we come back to the new year. But so overall you want like a nice big jazz show, nice laid back jazz maybe at the start. Maybe the
Yeah.
music leads into a nice big costume change, party rocking at the house tonight at the end, basically.
Eh,
Like just throwing down.
yeah, to an extent.
Just like a show choir or just like a drum corps or marching band show where it's just hell gates
Correct.
open at the end of the show. Have fun, throw down.
Correct.
So my ideal show choir show. If I'm to pick any theme, I like story themes. I like a storyline. I want to be able to see like a main character. Um, a classic show choir show since it came out is The Greatest Showman. I know, I know, or Hamilton. I know it's probably millions of show choirs have done it. Trust me, I've seen like eight have done each. Um, but no, I want that. I like the costume changes, obviously. If you can do more than one in a show, even more impressive. Really like that. Because I've seen show choir shows who do one every song. Every song they do a costume change. And that's insane. Uh,
Right.
I don't really care about the size of the show choir because I'm small. I was in a kind of a smaller show choir, and we competed with some of the bigger ones. Like it's that all about that small fish in a big pond. Like you can produce very good sound and very good choreography with a small group as well. Um, I like seeing the props as well. How you can have staging behind your risers to where it kind of brings your show out more. Kind of like how I like a lot of props in marching band and stuff. And then, like you said, I want the band to be thrown down. I want to feel like the band's in it and not just do 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 do. Like I want to
Yeah.
hear it. Do that do that da 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 do that do that. Like I want to hear that. I want to hear it in the back. I want to hear them throwing down. Hear
Right.
that drum set. Hear that guitar. Hear the trumpet, trombone, sax, whatever, just throwing down. And I want to hear that nice vocal uh ensemble sound. And I wanted to start off, you know, kind of subtle, nice pre-show, build up that first song, show them what you got, do a little fast song, lead into a ballad, bring out the ballad with a nice kind of like a fanfare type thing, nice and loud. And then that last song, if you're doing like five songs, just kind of quick, show them what you got. Like I'm trying
Yeah.
to think. We had at the end of our show, David and Goliath, we had this song called Victory that Damon Brown wrote, our choreographer. Like it was quick. Oh, hold on, I can pull up the audio on my phone. Hold on. It was quick. and it came right after Dies Irae.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and also if you can do other languages, I like that too. As long as it's like a, as long as it's you can, I can feel what the emotion of those lyrics are supposed to be telling me without knowing that. That's what I think is the most important part. If you do a different lyric, is that I don't even have to understand it, but if I can feel the emotion and the facials you're having throughout the show, that's what really matters to me. Let me find this. Here we go. It was this. It had this has also has vocals from like people who just recorded it for us.
Vibin.
Oh, this one doesn't have the vocals.
L.
This is the solos at the beginning. I also like very confident soloists. Very confident. Just like um how I don't want a piccolo trumpet solo playing you know what and messing up.
Oh, come on. Okay, the Carnival of Venice is fun.
It's fun, but when I hear a crack in there, it's not as fun. Just like if I heard a vocalist crack on stage, that's not as fun. It happens. Like it happened to me, I think, once. Happened to Griffin a couple times. Um, Fun fact is like when at our dinner theater, he was sick, so I almost had to sing his solo because we have understudies and stuff. So like we sing each other's solos if we're sick or are not there.
Mm-hmm.
So he was sick, thought he couldn't sing it, so I was gonna sing it, and then he just goes ahead and sings it. And then another one of those nights, he got electrocuted in that show by like the computer. Like this is
Huh.
the ground. This is the ground right here. He gets electrocuted. He smacked that ground so hard, his head hit the floor like so hard. We thought he wasn't going to get back up. We thought he knocked himself out. And I'm like, it's right before the ballad. And I'm just kind of like, um, what are we supposed to do? Is he going to get back up? Because it was after Emperor's New Clothes. So it's
Right.
like that song. Like, God, it's just show choir is fun. You have these memories as well that just blend together, just like marching band and drum corps. But no, basically, kind of similar to yours. A nice, cool show, nice theme. Mine's a little bit more proppy because I know how you are with props. I like more costume changes because I'm not a traditional guy. I like the new stuff. I like it. If you have a rapper in the show, cool. Like I don't throw down whatever you can in a show choir show, and I'll like it probably. Um, as long as you perform it confidently as a choir. One more thing is if your guys in a choir can sing confidently, I give you bonus points.
Yeah.
As a guy singer, when you first start, and I can attest, you're so timid. You're like, because a lot of people say, "Oh, well, singing's for girls." Like you can't sing as a guy. Like that was like the stereotype when I was younger. And I feel like you probably heard it too. Like just maybe not to you, but we're just kind of like you saw to other people. So like you get that like your masculinity type thing, like you don't want to sing, and then you like are a really good singer when you sing out, which is the funniest thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's it's just always so funny when you're teaching a guy to sing. It's like they're so timid, and it's like I know you can give more. Like your normal voice is twice as loud, so you can give more, and it's just like a whole thing of opening up your voice. So when you have a full guy section in a show choir or your tenor basses in general that can sing loud and confident, probably the best thing in my opinion. It's just the masculinity thing does happen to people. It happened to me, happened to a couple other guys I know. And it's just kind of like you don't know how to explain it. It's kind of like if back in the day where if your favorite color was pink, you didn't want to say it was pink.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about. I'm not trying to like open up a
No, I
can
know
of
what you're
worms,
talking about.
but
Yeah.
it's just like some people have differing ideas, but I can like the color pink if I want, or purple. I can be a great guy singer and sing. Like that's the thing, and that's kind of like the scenario you have to talk to or talk about when you try and have a guy sing. Is like, listen, no one's gonna judge you. They're gonna judge you more if you don't sing out. It's like, oh, what's your favorite color? Oh, I don't have one. I'm gonna judge you more if you don't have a favorite color than if it's
What's your favorite color?
turquoise or like red or pink or like whatever. It's just like, oh, what's your favorite instrument that you play? I don't know.
Eh.
Probably trumpet. I'm
Mhm.
judging you out a lot for that one.
Yeah.
If you play all
Stupid.
these,
Stupid.
if you play French horn and trumpet and your favorite's trumpet, but whatever. Um, moving on from that, do you have any musicals that you like?
I like West Side Story a lot. It's a
Classic,
very good one. Yeah. Phantom of the Opera's okay.
another classic.
Hamilton's okay.
Hamilton's amazing. Shush.
There are a
You
couple
like
songs I
Grease?
like from Hamilton.
You
Eh,
like Grease?
eh.
Oh, come on. You cannot like Grease. That's like a fan favorite.
It's
Like,
okay.
and uh plays. Any plays?
Um,
Not musical, like a play. This is hard. I don't really have a favorite play because I'm a musical
I
guy.
I don't
So,
watch. I
but
don't go to plays.
that's in that theater realm, so I just thought I'd ask.
Yeah,
For
that's fair.
me, musical wise, I love Hamilton. I got Dear Evan Hansen in there. Heathers. Man, I love Heathers. Heathers is a great musical. Um, Adam's Family. We got Shrek. We got Shrek the
Okay.
musical,
You know what?
baby.
Shrek. Shrek the musical. There we go. There we go.
Grease.
All right. It's all
Phantom of the
ogre.
Opera.
It's all ogre.
um, I have a playlist. Hold on. Let me look
Oh,
at
do
it.
you now?
I do. Wicked. Oh, how did I forget Wicked?
Okay,
Aladdin's another
Wicked's
great one.
okay.
Um,
Aladdin's okay.
Pippin. Pippin's a great one.
Never seen that. Never heard of that.
I would recommend watching or listening to Pippin. It's like
I'll
a
get right on
king.
that
It's a
bozo.
kingdom. It's a kingdom story. A kingdom musical, basically. That's
I'll
all
get
I'll
right
tell
on
you.
that bozo.
Adam's Family. I think I already said that one.
Yep.
But with that new Wednesday Netflix show, like, come on, you have to love Adam's Family. I'm at a loss for words today. I'm struggling to think. Hold on. Yeah. So overall, like those are the musicals I like. Again, I plays. I don't like. I mean, I'll watch a play. I like plays. It has that theater aspect that I like still. It's just I watch more musicals because again, I'm a music guy. Choir, band, orchestra, all of the above. So I'm like, I like musicals. But now the difference, people of the world, show choir, musical, play. Play is its own thing. That's theater. That's the theater world. So divide that.
The Ring Cycle. That's a good play.
Music or musical and show. Sorry, musical and show choir. We have concert choir over here. That's concert choir. Put that aside. We got the plays. That's theater. Put that aside. Musical. You take your choral arts and your play arts, as in theater, and take a nice play, aka Adam's Family, add the musical aspect to it. You have your play theater aspect, you have your choral musical aspect, and then you have your show choir choreography type stuff into it. That's done on a stage. A stage with a 2 hour like musical. There is not a, I mean, I don't want to say there's not a 2 hour show choir show because there are some half-hour ones, so
No,
maybe
thank you. No, thank
maybe
you.
someone did it, but that's a musical. It's kind of the realm of all three put together.
Peace and love when we watched that 30-minute one, I zoned out halfway through.
Your judge tape.
Cool. Nice.
Now, show choir, you take the choral aspect, obviously. Boom,
Mm-hmm.
choir. Take choreography, throw it in there. You can take some musical design from like a storyline aspect and maybe a theater aspect for the facials.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have like acting going on in it, because some show choir shows do have like a kind of speaking part, not many, but that does happen. You put those together, that's a show choir show. With a,
Yeah.
a musical has a pit band, obviously, but a show choir has like a tiny little band, little pocket, like a kind of like a like a little jazz ensemble, like one of each instrument, basically. Most of them don't have one of each instrument, so it's like a couple players, mainly like bass guitar, electric guitar, piano, synth, drum set, maybe a trumpet, maybe a trombone, maybe a sax, something like that going on. Um, but besides for that, like that's kind of how ours was. A lot of other show choirs have more because their schools are more integrated, so they kind of have more players or they pay people to play for them, regardless. So that's the difference between the four realms, in my opinion. Again, this is gonna be your opinion, whatever, if it's different to you, but that's kind of how I divide it up and how I think overall. A lot of people I know also divide it up kind of that way. Not exactly, but it's more so similar, but it's like these are four different things, but they all fit into that choir and drama category.
Right.
You got theater and choir, throw them away, show choir and musical. There you go. They're right next
Yeah.
to each other, but they're not the same thing. So people
Mm-hmm.
stop calling show choir, is it a musical? It has musical aspects, but it is not a musical. A like think about it like this. This is a musical. This is the stage. This is show choir. This is our stage. It goes on it. We have risers. That's it. Maybe
Brilliant.
usually 3 rows and a ground floor, but maybe four if you're big enough to have
Brilliant.
four. We didn't really need 4 rows of risers because we weren't 50 people big. So,
Fair.
and on average, a show choir show usually has about 5 songs. They also have, again, depending on the size, it could be a longer show, a shorter show. I think average is about like 17, 18 minutes on average.
Not
So a
a
little
30
long,
minute.
no, about 8, 9 minutes longer than a marching and drum corps show. So, and then as a from experience here, someone who has done marching band with a great competing bands of America band with Kevin Ford drill, that's Blue Stars drill, um, a show choir show like show choir shows with Tarpon Springs, another great ensemble that has performed like you know top of their class wherever we would go usually for a long time. We also performed in Fame, competed at a high level there. Then also with the Boston Crusaders. Here's how I'm gonna rank how tired I get. Drum corps, you won't beat drum corps. Drum corps is a hell of an activity.
Mm-hmm.
Show choir, marching band. My show choir shows I felt were harder than my marching band shows at Tarpon.
Interesting.
And the reasons why, and again, I would say it's not that far apart from drum corps, but I'm also filtering in all those long rehearsal days in drum corps that just kind of build up the tiredness throughout the
Yep.
season. And then show choir, you don't rehearse as much. You do it every day in class or every day after school, depending on the school. We did in class and had like one rehearsal after school throughout the week, and then we had a concert choir after school, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but my reasoning is because
A reasoning, why don't you
in
say?
in marching band and in drum corps, but I'm mainly doing the comparison from high school marching band to high school show choir.
Okay.
I'm like this. basically the whole show. Maybe my upper body does this. Maybe I snap my horn down, but my head through my hips kind of stays stationary throughout most of the show. Again, I may go left and right, but again, my whole body, my hip and up stays together unless I'm doing like a break sway. I know I write choreography for Licking Heights. Your upper body is what's doing the moving. And it's basically just something weird. Maybe you'll get on the ground here and there depending on your choreographer, like we would
Nope.
do every year at Tarpon.
Nope.
Um,
Nope.
and at Boston as well.
Nope.
So now at show choir, you're doing a lot more intense stuff with your legs just because you're throwing them out and twisting them and doing these like weird, jazz steps and, just choreography. Your mid drift down here, your belly, you're doing something else here as well a lot of the time. Your arms are now incorporated to where you need to get like perfect angles in your arms, just like in your legs, just like how we want that perfect, triangle shape with our horns the whole show.
Right.
Now we're thinking about getting every arm pose we do, whatever it is, whatever hand motion we're doing to all the way to the tips of our fingers, also all at these specific angles together to where, you're 30 people, a error between 30 people is a lot more noticeable than a error between five or six marchers across the field.
Right.
It's I can easily tell if my hand is slightly different than the person to my left. And that's the thing with show choir,
Yeah.
I respect it. Like, I wouldn't say a lot more, but I just respect show choir a little more than marching band, in my opinion, just because I've done it as well. And it's just to see an impressive show choir. It's like, could you imagine if a whole marching band did that?
Nope.
Like, that would
Nope.
be insane.
Don't
Like,
dance.
and it's not that I'm downgrading marching band. It's that I just think it'd be so crazy. Like, if something like that, every single performer looked like that on the marching band field. And it happens. But it's like, you can get away with a lot more things in marching band, in my opinion. Just because, if you're a big group, like a huge group, you can hide things behind other people. That's the thing. You can do that. See, you're smiling,
Who knows?
That's why you were in the back of the form.
Hey, not true. Not true. Shut up. Not
Hey,
true.
I'm just messing. But
I was
again,
front row at the closer in 17.
it's not that I don't respect marching band. I obviously do. It's not that I respect show choir more. It's just I think the stuff you can do in show choir is so much more technically difficult to get together because it's a smaller group
Right.
and it's a lot more responsibility. It's tip of my head to the tip of my fingers to the tip of my toes. Like, it's everything. And that's why I got more tired. It's because I'm singing, I'm using my voice, so my throat muscles, my voice, my face has to be doing facials throughout the whole show. My head is also doing stuff. Everything's doing stuff to where you're thinking about all of this stuff at once to where it's almost like the triple the amount it feels like than marching band.
Right.
To where it's kind of just like overwhelming. And that's why I think marching or show choir was harder for me. And it wasn't like the performing was harder. It's just if I was to tally up how tired I got through a show, again, it's also 8 minutes longer than a high
Yeah.
school show. So, and that's because we didn't do a 30-minute show as well. So,
No 30-minute
like,
shows, please.
so we're also like in costumes. If you have a costume change, that's stressful. Um, you don't have a drum major or a conductor in front of you. Some groups do, but most of the time you don't. Your director's conducting the band in the back that you're listening to, so you just have to listen. But you're also getting blasted by this light, like I am right now. So, and you get like really hot. You're sweating. If you have makeup, it's dripping down your face. It's like if it's like not applied fully, or it's like heavy sweater, whatever. it's just a lot to handle.
Yeah.
And if you're moving props as well, it's a whole thing. And again, it's all that same stuff we deal with in marching band. It is. But just adding those couple more body things that we have to worry about, even our fingers and our eyes and our cheekbones and like everything just stresses me out. And that's why I thought it was harder. Now the thing with drum corps is it's just drum corps.
And it's just day
You're
after
always
day after
tired.
day after day of just beating you down physically.
Like if you haven't watched our drum corps episode from the last couple weeks, go tune into that. Like
Texas tour,
it's tiring, especially
Texas
in Texas,
tour, Texas
especially
tour.
especially when you don't have a performance for a couple days and then you're just doing 3 day blocks that you're not used to because you've been performing the whole week. Like
Dude,
it's
those
not
sucked.
fun. Like
Those
those
sucked.
that's what tires you out. And
Those 3 days after, like one after another in Massachusetts, those were probably the best days of tour, to be honest with you. Like
oh
the
my god,
best
yeah.
back to back to back days of tour
Yeah, we
because
performed every night. But we also
that
had
and
more. We had more going on. We had like we went to Boston. We went to
imagine
the Gillette Stadium. Like we were doing everything. We went to that party and had
lame,
some lobster. Ate some lobster.
lame Patriots, bad. They
I
suck.
agree.
They suck.
Um, but no, overall, I haven't gotten to do a WGI show. I
Hey,
kind
there
of
is no age out.
I know. So I'm saying like maybe next season I may because I have weekends off now with my job, so I could easily go do a WGI show technically.
Hey man,
Because
all
most
I'm
rehearsals are
saying,
on the weekends with like people who are adults. Um, Valhalla wins. Totally go do Valhalla wins.
yeah, let's do it.
Um, maybe next year.
Let's do it next year.
No, we can do it. I'm dead serious. Next year we can
Oh,
do it.
I
I
am
want to,
so down.
and I hate to say it, I haven't even done a WGI show, but I've watched plenty of it.
Hmm.
I almost did a WGI Tarpon show with the
Really?
color guard. Griffin and I wanted to join the color guard, but then she said it would the show choir and the color guard dates, the competitions are on the same day, so we couldn't. So I was
Oh,
almost in color guard. Fun
oh,
fact.
oh
just
God, no.
just for WGI, because I just wanted to experience it.
And go to
But
Dayton?
if I'm doing indoor wins, I'm gonna, I got drum corps, show choir, marching band. I'm probably gonna just defaultly have to throw indoor at the bottom. I just think with those other three on my belt, indoor would be a lot easier because you already got the marching band aspect slash the drum corps aspect, and then you're throwing in the acting and the facials you have to do a lot more in indoor and the theater aspect of it with show choir. Boom. You got all three totem poles right there.
Yeah, yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
hey, next
Go do a
season we
show choir
marching.
show and you'll be ready for Valhalla wins, buddy.
Hey, next year we marching together finally?
Maybe.
We
We've
finally
marched
marching
on like
together?
him and I have marched on competitors for every year, basically.
Yep.
Tarpon Carmel, Boston Cadets. It's always like, well, he almost was a part of Boston, but he got sick. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
he would have gotten a contract.
Well,
So that's on him. But
yeah,
overall,
tough. Happens.
basis, um, basis is musical is different than a show choir.
Yes.
I think show choir's harder than marching band. Hot take. Not drum corps. I'm clarifying. I
Hmm.
think show choir, marching band, drum corps, WGI, all of it, sport. Don't care what anyone says to me. It is a physical activity that has a competitive atmosphere to it, and that's what qualifies it. Just saying. If chess is a sport, goddamn, these other ones are a sport. Like you can't tell me chess and checkers are a sport and ping pong is a sport and
Hey,
that
ping pong is fun. Ping pong is legit.
and bowling is a sport and all
Okay,
these things are
bowling's
a
legit.
sport. Like the easier sports are a sport, but not marching band or show choir or drum corps or indoor winds, percussion, color guard.
Yeah,
Hot take.
well, we'll see.
Isn't it like the hold on before we end this? Hold on.
I'm holding. What are you trying to find, bozo?
An activity
Oh, the
involving
definition.
physical exertion
Yep.
and
Yep.
skill in which an individual or a team competes against another or others for entertainment. Entertainment. What the hell is a marching band then? An activity, marching band, involving physical, the marching and choreography aspect, and blowing air into an instrument, and skill, your musical ability, in which an individual, yourself, and a team, your marching band, competes against another Carmel versus Tarpon versus Broken Arrow versus like anybody
I went undefeated against Tarpon.
or other groups for entertainment. People buy tickets to these competitions called Bands of America, Drum Corps International, WGI, Show Choir Fame.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Blair.
Search it up. What classifies something as a sport?
Oh, I know. I know. Trust me, I've looked that up one too many
So,
times.
all you people out there, love you dearly, appropriately. It's a sport. Listen, I was in track. All these
I did
other
cross
activities
country.
are so much harder than track. It's so much harder than track. Yeah, it's just track. Yeah, you're sprinting your ass off or you're throwing stuff. Like it's or you're jumping. Like it's these other activities are harder. Now, if we're talking concert ensembles, no, that's not a sport. My wind ensemble is not a sport. My concert choir is not a sport. But the show choir, the marching band, the drum corps, the indoor ensemble, that is a sport. Musical, that's throwing it up in the air. It's kind of a combination of all of them. You don't really compete for a musical, so no. Play. You can have
No,
friendly competitions for plays, but wouldn't consider it a sport because
no,
you're not doing anything really physical most of the time. You're just mainly acting in those. Musicals, again, you have all that physical stuff. So if you do compete, sure, but not you don't. I've never competed in a musical, so I'm just saying. But overall, man, that was going to be another topic. Is it a sport? Well, we just kind of did two in one episode.
well, we just killed it.
um, yeah, so that's probably going to call it for this week about show choir and the choral arts and kind of the definitions and I guess whether stuff's a sport or not and what certain states classify it as. Um, if you haven't tuned into like the judging episode, the drum corps episode, tune into our most recent episodes, also the one about music education and how we can help as a music community to help better it for the future. Uh, Next week we're going to be jumping into the sitting down aspect of the music world. We're going to pull some pieces that we really like. So like Mahler for Mitchell probably. Like the
Mahler?
sit down season as in like ensembles like wind ensemble,
Oh
jazz
yeah.
ensemble,
Our symphony
concert
orchestra is
choir.
our symphony orchestra this next semester is playing Mahler too. The entire symphony. And their concert's on my birthday, on my 21st.
My earpiece just fell out.
Oh, that's an L.
But yeah, so that's what next week is going to be about. Just kind of touching on some pieces. Uh, we may or may not skip an episode for the holiday seasons. That's hasn't been fully discussed yet, but that may happen if I'm looking at my calendar here. I know it doesn't interfere with anything, but we may have the 21st next week will be an episode. Then we may skip the 28th, that Wednesday, which is in between Christmas and New Year's, and then we'll post back again January 4th, which that will be the new year. And we just may be skipping it, and that may be like the end of season 3 next week. if we do skip it, and if not, then the 28th will be. And then we'll start fresh with season 4 as we get into show choir and indoor season, since that's slowly going to start kicking up. Get that preseason stuff going on, get the big names of organizations we're looking out for, as we approach Dayton and like Fame and stuff. And kind of early drum corps stuff as we approach the summer as well. So besides for that, thanks for tuning in, and catch y'all next week. Peace out.